Hi, my name is Martin,
And I'm Miley.
And I'm Irene.
and today we are going to go over the next steps that you should take to enroll in the upcoming semester. So I will go over the admissions checklist, the admitted student checklist. So by now, hopefully you have received this lovely folder from our admissions office. If you did not receive this, you should contact the admissions office to get this. Or your application may not be completed. So either way, contact them to figure out what your status is. But if you don't have this, or if you do have this, inside, this is what we will be focusing on today, the actual checklist. But if you don't, you can follow along on our website by going to manoa.hawaii.edu/admissions. And if you go to prospective student, undergraduate, and admitted, that will take you to everything that I'm going to cover here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go straight down. So the first step that you should do as soon as possible is create your MyUH account. Now, this MyUH account will be your hub to everything university related. This is how you will communicate with your future faculty as well as your staff. This is where it's basically the portal to everything that UH has to offer. Now, my pro tip to you is when you choose your username, choose it wisely because that will be yours forever. And it should be professional-ish. So like GamerBoy123, for example, would probably not be the wisest email or username for you. No offense if that is your actual email, but okay. So after you create your MyUH portal or your username, that will get you into the portal. Through there, that's where you can check your status for financial aid. I definitely recommend applying. The FAFSA is open for the upcoming spring semester as well as next school year as well. So if you haven't done so already, go to FAFSA, FAFSA.gov to complete it online. It is a free service, and you will just have to put UH Manoa's school code for that. Our school code is 001610, but you can also search us through the FAFSA. Now, keep in mind, it's .gov. If you go to .com, that is a mistake. That's a scam website, so it's a back out. Now, even if you do not think you will be eligible for financial aid, you should definitely do the FAFSA anyway, because the majority of our scholarships will require the FAFSA for verification purposes. But also by going to the checklist, you can apply for scholarships through that. And we make it as convenient as possible. So we have the general university scholarships. It's one application that will qualify you for many scholarships. But our college, CTAHR, has our own exclusive scholarships on top of that. So definitely pay attention to your emails, open up anything that you receive from us. Okay, Meet With Us is us, but also the us that they're referring to on this checklist is admissions. So you can participate in upcoming events. We also have events, so thank you for coming today. But you can also schedule a campus tour. So if you are a potential student coming from out of state, there's an additional sign up to view the resident halls if you're planning to stay on campus. But on top of the general tour that the university puts on, which is great, you can also sign up to see our college specifically, which is much better. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, now the next step is to submit your tuition deposit. Please keep in mind that the tuition deposit is non-refundable and it is $200. This is not an additional expense that goes on top of your tuition. This will knock off some of that within your tuition. It is applied to it, but only submit the tuition deposit once you know that you would like to enroll at Manoa for sure, okay? Because it is non-refundable. So again, if you are interested in student housing or living on campus, there is a separate application for that, as well as a separate housing fee. The housing fee is $400. And then you can sign up for a meal plan on that as well. And then make sure that you submit any final documents. So this would be if you're currently enrolled at a post-secondary institution, submitting your final transcript, or if you're in high school, having your final high school transcript sent to our admissions office. It does need to be official. And what that means is you never touch it. It comes straight from one institution to our institution. And same thing goes with any test scores that you have as well. So SAT, ACT for that. Now, preparing your class schedule, you do that through the STAR GPS, which you can access through the MyUH portal. But we'll go into greater detail about that as well. Paying for college, that's important. This is why, again, doing your FAFSA, going through the financial aid, going through the scholarships, that's all important. We give you options to pay the tuition before the first day of class in one lump sum, but you can also sign up for a payment plan. The payment plans do have an initial setup fee, but it is interest-free. So if you would like to spread out the tuition over in increments, that is an option for you as well. The health clearance, you should have received the health clearances form. You do not have to do the form. That's for your convenience. You can submit your medical records. So we do need proof that you did have a TB clearance within 1 year of the start date, as well as MMR. So you can have your physician sign the health clearances form, or you can submit your shot records to the admissions office. To the health office. And then the admissions office or the university will put on a new student orientation, and we have our own orientation as well. So you should be getting more information about that as the dates approach. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Irene, and she will walk you through the next steps.
So I'm going to start going a little bit more in depth about the questions related to advising and getting ready for your courses and registering for those courses. So we'll go back to that checklist that Martin had. So the step number 7, where it talked about preparing for your class schedule. So the STAR GPS registration, Miley's going to show a demo of that and how you can add your courses. But one of the things that I want to reference is in the first paragraph, they have information about MyUH services. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. Let me just pull this up. Here we go. There we go. Sorry about that little technical difficulty. So sorry, here we are back at the new student checklist, step number 7, preparing that class schedule. So in that first paragraph, it talks about your registration time and assignment and how it can be found in the MyUH services. So let's go ahead and go to MyUH. So that myuh.hawaii.edu. And you can kind of think of this as your one-stop kind of page with all the different applications that you can utilize toward your university time here. So accessing your student record, your financial information, and it has a nice little service bar at the top where you can type in, well, what would I like to do? So for today, we want to do registration, or actually look into registration. So I'm going to type in register, and the applications related to registration and registering come up to that. And so let's take a look at that registration timetable. So I'm going to click on that application. And we have some of our spring semester information and deadlines, so you can kind of scroll through. Right now, as you can see, as we're scrolling down, we have our continuing students who are currently registering for courses. If we continue scrolling down, we should have our registration assignment for our incoming classified students to UH Manoa. And so there you can see, based on how many credits you might be coming in with, you do have a specific date and even a time of when you'll be able to register register for courses. So if you're a first-time freshman, just coming in, you probably don't have really any earned college credits. So you might be registering on that Tuesday, November 27th. Information on if you are a transfer student or maybe a freshman who has taken some college level classes, determining how many credits you actually have earned would be on your MyUH information system on your STAR GPS. You would have a transfer credit evaluation where you could see how many credits you're coming in with, and you can use that to kind of verify your date and time. So let's go back up to the top of the page. And I want to find out a little bit more details about campus registration. So I'm going to click in the far right-hand top corner area, campus registration information. And so we are a 10-campus system, so that's why we have information for all our different 10 campuses. But you are specifically accepted to University of Hawaii at Manoa, so we're going to go to the UH Manoa online registration guide. And this is provided through our records office. So our Office of the Registrar, they kind of keep your student record, and registration is done through them. They're where you can get your transcripts completed if you are a veteran and you're using your GI benefits, or a dependent of a veteran using GI benefits. The Veterans Affairs office is through our records office as well too. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that guide to registration, which is in that right column there under our academic calendar. And I'm just going to go over some steps to prepare for registration, because I think it will be more helpful to actually see the steps. And Miley's going to go into a little bit more detail showing you that through a demo site that we have. So let's just kind of run through those steps, preparing for registration. So we have it here. So getting started. So for registration, okay, let's see, registration step-by-step, how to register. So here we go, our registration step-by-step. So a lot of the things that Martin actually kind of covered, that's actually kind of referenced in their first paragraph there. Incoming freshmen should also read the new Rainbow Warrior checklist, where it has a lot of details about, just kind of confirming, okay, am I accepted? Have I submitted my tuition deposit? Number 3, have I cleared my holds? So those health clearance holds. Did I make sure my final transcripts are on the way to our Office of Admissions? Number 4, checking your registration time. We just saw the registration timetable where you can double check that. And then you probably could skip step number 5, check class schedule and availability, because that's actually built into the STAR GPS registration, but it is still helpful to kind of see just the wealth of the courses that we do teach here at UH Manoa, and the class availability can give you a little bit more details about courses, like what focus requirements they might have and that sort of thing, which an advisor can talk more to you about when you do meet with us. But very important, checking the course restrictions and prerequisites. So all of our degree programs require, most of our degree programs, I should say, not all of them, require pre-calculus or calculus math, chemistry. We do only award Bachelor's of Science degrees, and some of our courses require placement exams. So in reviewing information related to course restrictions, prerequisites, you kind of want to be aware, okay, for certain courses, do I have to take placement exams? And yes, some of these courses do require that. So information about placement exams, if we actually scroll back up to the top, sorry, I know information is kind of all over the place, but it's all on the website, but you kind of just have to click around. If we scroll back up to the top, in this far left-hand column, we have some information related to registering. There's that guide to registration. So kind of toward the bottom, we have information about placement exams. So I kind of want to jump into that, since we talked about course restrictions and prerequisites to be aware of. So if you're looking at your STAR GPS registration, which again, Miley will show you what that is, what we're talking about. We keep referencing it. And you see that, oh, I might have to take like Chemistry 161, which is a general chemistry one. Please note that that course does have a placement exam. You do have to take a placement test and qualify to enroll in Chem 161. If you're not able to directly place into Chem 161, then you could potentially retake the placement exam. I think for chemistry, you have to wait 24 hours to redo that. Or you may just have to enroll in the Chem 131, which is the preparation course for general chemistry. So there's some information for you. If you go to the chemistry department's website and view the placement exam information, it'll have a little bit more details about the rules of taking the chemistry placement exam. It's a 60-minute time limit, and you do need a calculator and periodic table. This is available online. So if you have your UH username set, your password set, you can access it now. Testing began in October, and it will end, as you can see there, in January 11th. And so more details will be provided on this website. So let's go back to that placement page. Some of our programs of studies do require languages, not necessarily all of them, but if on your STAR GPS you see that STAR is suggesting for you to take like a language 101 or 102, and maybe you've taken 4 years of Spanish or French in high school, and you might want to take a placement exam to see if you could place into a higher level of that language, or if you speak a native language at home already maybe and you're quite fluent, you could also take a placement exam for that and see if you could place in a higher level. So there are some placement exams for different languages, so you can view those ones that might be available. So I'll scroll past that, and then mathematics next. So if STAR is suggesting for you to take like a pre-calculus or calculus type of math, and you may not be transferring in with that particular math credit completed or the prerequisite completed, you will have to take a math placement test as well too. So the math placement test, this one, it's actually an in-person placement test, but students do have the option, because if you want to take care of it now and maybe you're not able to come to campus, you can sign up. If we scroll down on their placement page, you can sign up to take the test remotely through something called ProctorU. You just need to have a fast and reliable internet connection, but there is a cost to that. So as you can see, the cost is $17.50, and that's basically to pay for an individual to proctor you while you're taking the exam. Otherwise, if you are able to potentially access campus, you can take it in person at our physical science building. Again, there are some rules that they have as well too. Math placement does not allow you to bring a calculator, okay? So chemistry placement, you can use a calculator. Math placement, no calculator. Just a heads up, our math department is a calculator-free department, so you definitely want to brush up on your equations and that sort of thing. So information, math placement, you can make a reservation if you're going to take it in person. We have some upcoming placement tests, as you can see there, November 19th, and it runs through January. The math placement test is good for a year. So if you take it now, and let's say maybe math doesn't work for your schedule though, when you do get to register, you can save it for the next following term to take your placement test. Okay. Yes.
There's a question.
And we have a question, yes.
It says, if you get a C- or above in the class, you don't have to take the placement exam, though? Question mark.
So the question was, if you get a C- in a class, so are we talking about you're enrolled in, so if you're taking a class, like through one of our community colleges, and let's say maybe you're taking Math 140, like at our community college, like Kapiolani Community College or something, or Honolulu Community College. You're taking Math 140 right now, and maybe you have to do Calc 1 for your next math course. Actually, you would need a C or better to be able to move on. Usually if a course is a prerequisite course, you need a C or better. And actually, I guess that would apply to any transfer student. If you are transferring in with an equivalent course that is a prerequisite to another course that you would have to take here at UH Manoa, generally, you would need C's or better to continue to the next semester of the courses. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Does it need to be a Hawaiian community college?
Not necessarily. I was just referencing that because we have most ease with within our system of courses, transferring in. So that's why it's really difficult for us to say, like, in general, we really would have to look at your record to determine exactly what math course you're taking right now at your current institution and see how it's transferring based on the Office of Admissions to UH Manoa for us to determine just essentially what kind of math you're coming in with. Yeah. So you could always email us that question directly just so we can have more of a private conversation and be able to look up your record. It's helpful if you email us from your @hawaii.edu email address, with which Martin kind of referenced. It's a very important email address because that's actually how we can, well, we know, one, it's you hopefully sending your email because you've had to sign into it. And your email address is actually also your username, which we can also use to look up your student record to just see the details of what courses you're coming in with. So yeah, why don't you email us sometime at our CTAHR ADV@hawaii.edu email address so we can take a look at your record and let you know exactly your answer to your question.
You can also, through the admissions website, if you go to the transfer section of the undergraduate, there's a transfer database. And that gives you a rough idea whether or not a class will transfer. But it's an always growing list. So if your class isn't there, that doesn't mean that it won't transfer. It just means it hasn't been previously. So.
Okay. All right. So that's the information about the math placement test. Okay. So, and that's kind of all the placement tests that we really have to worry about right now. So we'll go back to that registration step by step. So just scroll back down to the information about course restrictions and prerequisites. Number 7, register online, STAR GPS registration. So actually, yeah, we're going to go ahead and dive in a little bit more deeply into that. Miley has a demo account that we can show you how STAR GPS registration works. So you can access it, again, with your UH username and password. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Miley.
Okay. Okay, so what you will do when you're ready to register, and actually when you're ready to just start looking for classes and the sections you might be interested in taking, is you will go to www.star.hawaii.edu and log into your STAR record. You will use your UHID, your email login basically. So the username that you use for your email, your password, and then you can see this screen is showing you the GPS registration page, which is actually what will be the first screen you'll look at once you log in. This is a fictitious student record. It's Starry Night. So it's really about privacy issues. This is fictitious, but what GPS registration will show you is the course plan for your specific major. So when we look at it, you can think of it as a plan that is adaptive if you have transfer credits coming in, the plan will adapt to the transfer credits. So spring 2019, we're looking at suggestions that the STAR system has for the animal sciences major, which is what Starry Night is majoring in. So when we first look at it, it's actually, think of it like a shopping list. So it's showing us the courses that are recommended, and you want to make sure your course plan is well organized before you go into the registration system. Kind of like going to the grocery store. You don't want to just go in there cold. Having a list can be very helpful, right? And when you're ready, you can click register, add, drop classes. And the first thing you're going to see is a pre-registration checklist. So make sure that you follow the prompts to update your student record, read through and respond. If there are any holds on your accounts, I think both Martin and Irene talked about health clearance. If there's any type of a hold, you would see it on this particular screen. And so you want to make sure to provide whatever updates that the system is prompting you to do, and to clear any advising holds. For now, we're going to go ahead and continue forward in a preview mode. And what we see here is the course list, and then you have the select a course option next to each of the requirements. So one of the courses on the course list is Animal Science 201, Principles and Practices of Animal Science. So you'll select a course by clicking on the prompt, and then it only has one section, so really there's only one option. If you click expand, it will let you know if there are any prerequisites. And so Irene had talked about knowing about prerequisites. So this is where you could find out by clicking on the expand button. You'll fill in the bubble in order to select the course, and then you can move forward. In terms of a helpful strategy, I tend to advise students that they start by selecting courses that have the fewest options, and then save those that have more options for later on. Labs, there's usually multiple options for labs, so I usually save that for the last portion. So we'll move to the General Chemistry 2 lecture and see how the system is telling you if there is a time conflict. So it's actually responding to the courses you've selected previously. General Chemistry, so this is definitely a course we can see the prerequisite on. So I clicked expand, and you'll see that the prerequisite is Chem 161 completed with a C grade. So we'll go ahead and choose the section that actually does not have a time conflict. And then I'll skip the lab for now. I'll move forward for the pre-calculus or higher math requirement. And actually, when we look at this particular course, the Math 140, it's conflicting with all of the courses in my schedule. So Irene mentioned that might happen. Sometimes students do need to delay a course because there's just no available section that does not have a time conflict. And you'll notice on the right-hand side of your screen, you're building your class schedule, and it's actually showing you what the week would look like with the course sections that you are putting in your shopping cart. There are general education requirements that our university has, and so one of them is global and multicultural perspectives. So you'll see that it's listing quite a bit in terms of course options. If you want to try and narrow them down, so as you scroll, if you're just seeing that there's course after course, you don't know how to tell them apart, you could use filters. So sometimes students, they may be looking for, with the global multicultural perspectives requirement, there's different time periods you might select. And so maybe you want to look at courses that are in the FGA period. And so I'll click show more filters. And then under the other attributes, you'll see the general education core designations that you could look for. So if you are a transfer student, and if you notice on your transfer credit evaluation that you already received credit for an FGC or an FGB course, then that might be helpful to know before picking a second course in the global multicultural perspectives requirement, because they do need to be from 2 different time periods. So I'll look at FGA, click search, and then that's going to help you narrow down the courses. Let's say that you're looking for an online course. You can also search by instructional type, and so I could look which courses might be completely online. So that's a bit of a narrow requirement in terms of the amount of courses. So maybe not the FGA, but maybe I'll look for any FG courses that might be online. And we see music in world cultures is an online FG course. So as we go through, you'll fill your shopping cart with courses. So I'm just going to start selecting what I can. And this is another general education requirement, the arts, humanities, and literature. So let's say I'm interested in this cinema and digital media. And then I'll fill my cart, then I'll proceed to the checkout. So at this point, your registration is still pending. So you see a yellow, it does alert you that you're not registered yet. So even before your registration start time, you can be shopping just to get an idea for what type of a schedule you may want, what kinds of courses you may want. You can put everything in the shopping cart and then set a Google Calendar reminder in your phone when you're going to register, and then click submit to try and check out with the system. Once you're registered, the course will say registered next to it. Sometimes there are prerequisite errors. So let's say that you're trying to register for a chemistry course, so chemistry 161, and you have not taken the placement exam and you have not transferred in an equivalent prerequisite for that course. You're most likely going to get a prerequisite error. So make sure when that occurs that you read the error. And sometimes it's easy to solve. So for example, some courses require the lab taken with the lecture. And if you just add them at the same time, you can overcome that prerequisite error. Or by taking the placement exam, if that is what's needed, you can overcome that error. If you're confused, you're really not sure why you're getting this error, you can contact CTAHR Advising. We're happy to help you try and brainstorm what the issue might be. And I do have an advisor access for this demo, so it's not going to let me officially add the courses in and register, but you would see that the courses that you have secured will turn green and will say registered. Please know that from your registration start time, you're going to be able to add and drop courses. So let's say you register for this General Chemistry 2 lab that's on Mondays. And then later on, you find another course you want to take that conflicts, so you need to change your lab time. What you would do is you would actually click drop. So you would click drop. Once you're registered, you'll have that option, and then you'll submit the drop in order to drop that course, and then you can add another. You'll want to pay close attention to our academic calendar for the term you're registering for to find out when the last day is that you can drop on STAR and when you would actually need to go through like a late drop process. And Irene had shown you where to find the registration timetable and the registration guide. So those are very helpful resources that you can keep returning to. Okay, so I think that's the demo for us for STAR registration. Are there any other helpful hints that you guys might have?
Yeah, actually, I just want to refer back to the STAR demo. Miley, if I could share my screen.
Sure, I'll stop my share here.
So getting back to that demo that Miley created, setting up this nice schedule and that sort of thing. I just wanted to point out some few tips with the STAR system. So let's say I want to look for a different class for my diversification of arts, humanities, or literature. And I'm kind of scrolling. I see, a mixture of these 200, 300 level type of classes. I just want to let, if you're a first-time freshman or you're, just kind of feeling the campus out, you don't feel like you have to do a 300 level course, especially if you haven't taken any college level courses yet. The STAR system basically gives you every single course that's designated as a diversification of arts, humanities, or literature requirement. So if you're just starting off, just stick to a 100 or 200 level course. And if you want to find out a little bit more details about the course, because right now it's just kind of telling me the title, the time that it's offered, and the dates and stuff. If you actually click this arrow it opens up a little bit more details about the course. So if you're looking, American Experience, Culture, and the Arts, what's that about? Again, if I click this arrow, it shows me a little bit more details about the course, but kind of down at the bottom, we have a narrative here, which will give you the description of the course. So kind of, what to expect with the course related to that. So that's where you can kind of find out a little bit more details with it, and then, maybe switch it up, secure that, and go back to your requirements and that sort of thing. Other things too, so up at the top here, you have your information on your charges and such. This is actually where you can go to pay for your courses. So the view pay, that's where you can go ahead and pay for your tuition. You have the question mark. So if you have any questions, you're going through some technical difficulties on STAR, cute little dog there. They always have different images, but that connects you with the STAR team as well. And then the 3 bars here, when you click on that, it gives you a little bit more details about different things that you can do. So you can print your schedule, you can add your classes to your Google Calendar, because your UH email account is run through Gmail. So you do have Google Calendar, you have your Google Drive that you can access through your email account, and then parking information. If you are hoping to potentially get parking pass, you can, after you're registered, you can try to look to secure that parking pass there. So those are just my kind of helpful tips about STAR GPS registration.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think we could open it up for questions. If any of you have questions, we'll be looking at the chat.
And then they can also unmute yourself. Everyone right now is muted. So if you go to the bottom left, you can unmute your microphones.
It is a lot of information. So, we are on your team. You can schedule an advising appointment. And even if you may not be in state or are able to physically attend, we do give the option to have an over the phone appointment where we can walk through STAR with you over the phone, if that could be beneficial or helpful.
So I'm just answering some chats as well too.
Oh, okay.
How come our chat is?
I don't see it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, because she's responding directly to the student.
All right.
Okay.
Is that it?
Okay, so
I guess if nobody else has any questions, you can, sometimes, I do these meetings and I come up with a question 5 hours later, like, I should have asked that. So if that happens to you and you have a question that kind of pops into your mind, we're always available. I think Kelly, she sent out our email address, so you can always reach us at our email address. You might get a bounce back right away though, because we are in the midst of advising for our current students who are registering right now. So it's been a little hectic with students. We're helping them through walk-in advising and appointments and such, but we will get to you when we can. There's 3 of us, so we definitely, kind of share the workload and checking that email and that sort of thing. So we can definitely address your questions there. And then also too, you can think about if you want to make an appointment with us. I know our schedules are a little bit booked up right now, just because it is a short month with a lot of holidays. Happy early Thanksgiving to you folks. But yeah, you can always book an appointment. We do have phone appointments available if you're not, available to come to campus. You can do a phone appointment with us. If you do a phone appointment with us, we just ask if you could please have your STAR account available so that we can look at it at the same time and kind of talk about your suggested courses and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.